Okay. So, may massacre ba? Yun ang nabiting nating tanong. Ano ang result of facts? We're not talking just about Tolentino because some will say, si Tolentino, vice presidential candidate ni Marcos in 81, no?
86.
In 86. So, baka bias yan for Marcos. Let's look at the facts and Ninoy's words himself. But anyway, go ahead.
But we must remember that Tolentino is not a puppet of Marcos because he has a grudge against Marcos because he was supposed to be the presidential candidate of the Nacionalista Party in 1965. But,
you remember all
Marcos,
that, Eddie? You remember all that?
Well, the Marcos was a complete politician. He was the president of the Liberal Party. He was promised by Macapagal that Macapagal will only be there one term. And when Macapagal decided to run again, Marcos bolted the Liberal Party and went to Amang Rodriguez, who was the president of the Liberal Nationalista Party. And I was told that Marcos said, Amang, nandito na ako, parang kandidato niyo para presidente. Anong kandidato para presidente? Mag-convention muna kayo. Kaya the now historic convention between Marcos, Puyat, Pelaez, et al. No? And Marcos won it.
And I have a reason why I asked Senator Ilarde, and of course later I'll ask Bonoy. I think our nation has forgotten the reservoir of wisdom from the senior statesmen. And itong mga bata ngayon, akala nila marunong, but they are not even graduates of kindergarten in history and politics yet. But let's go back to this massacre.
Well,
anong facts of the case?
Jabidah Araula went to Governor Montano.
Araula was supposedly the only survivor.
Yeah, he claims to be the only survivor of a massacre.
Lumangoy daw siya, kaya siya na
he
hindi
swam
napatay.
all the way from Corregidor
to Cavite.
But my late uncle, who was a commander of the Philippine Navy, told me that even ships find it hard to go through that navigate those seas because there was strong current. And a human being, it's impossible for a human being to swim all the way from Corregidor to Cavite. Later on, Jabidah Araula changed his statement and said that a group of fishermen fished him out from the seas.
Ay, sabi ko, ang reaction ko nga, baka yung fisherman si Montaño. At saka yung Montano. Tapos yung fishing boat ay yung smuggling boat na ginagamit doon sa Cavite, di ba? Totoo ba yun? Ano bang kwento doon?
Yun ang mga kasinungalingan na ibinibigay sa taong bayan. Pero sino ba yung may sabi na I think it was a German propagandist who said, lies told many times become the truth.
That's Joseph Goebbels.
Goebbels. Anyway, that dispenses of Araula's testimony. What about the 24 daw na massacre?
Araula told the Court of First Instance and all the investigating bodies, including the Senate and the House of Representatives, that he believes that the first batch of the 24 trainees were in fact massacred. But according to Ninoi Aquino himself, and I will quote him, meanwhile, in Holo yesterday, I met the first batch of 24 recruits aboard RP-68. This is the boat of the Philippine Navy. This group was earlier reported missing or even worse, believed, quote-unquote, massacred. William Patarasa, 16 years old, one of the recruits, denied knowledge of any massacre. And Ninoi went on to say, after interviewing the self-asserted massacre survivor, Jabidah Araula, doubt nagged me that there had indeed been a massacre. And the Court of First Instance of Cavite dismissed the case because the judge said that Jabidah Araula was an unreliable witness and may have some mental imbalance.
Okay, kaya paalala ito, pakifocus ulit dito. Inquirer, can you please put those facts there,
Hindi yan nalalabas.
Hindi nila ilalabas.
Sinagot ko nga yung editorial.
I would like to call on our Senate and the House of Representatives, Senator Cayetano in particular, and Congressman Jonathan De La Cruz, to investigate the National Historical Institute. Why did they put up a marker there commemorating the so-called Jabidah massacre? What was the basis of the NHI for declaring that there was a massacre? Now, if there is no such massacre that can be proven, and it has already been proven by the court, the investigating bodies, the old Senate and the old House, we can still check the records. If there was indeed no massacre, then the National Historical Institute should be given by the Senate and the House 1 peso budget, or they should be abolished.
No, they're criminally charged
well,
for falsifying history.
Should Almonte be investigated also for telling lies?
Bakit?
Telling lies
About,
the RAM.
Okay,
Oh.
that's another.
ang sabi nila gringo,
No,
ni Senator
talaga.
Gringo.
Nilabas na nila,
Hindi
Gringo, Rex Robles, and so on.
Hindi daw totoo yung mga sinabi ni Joe Almonte, may kababayan.
Okay, so yung 24, they are served. What about the 8? Pinuntahan, in-investigate, actually,
And the relatives
kung talagang napatay yung mga yon, di yung mga kamag-anak would have been complaining, protesting, and so on. No, instead, they wanted to keep quiet because
And they were hiding the 8.
they were hiding. Oh.
That's
So,
why we are not free, because we have not told the truth.
That's right. And, well, we are telling the truth now.
We are free.
Here.
Dito, so what else? What are the other important facts?
Well, what is interesting is what Ambassador Rigoberto Tiglao stated in his column. And he said that Malaysia's Prime Minister at that time, Tunku Abdul Rahman, probably called for a secret national celebration after Ninoy's speech because it was indeed a celebration for Malaysia because from that time on, we were no longer actively pursuing our claim over Sabah because of the privileged speech of Ninoi Aquino exposing the secret plan of his own country to retake what is rightfully ours.
Kaya, kung ulit-ulitin nila itong mga baluktot na historical accounts blaming Filipinos, the Republic and Marcos for launching a project to reclaim what is rightfully the republics, then they are serving the Malaysians.
Correct.
Kaya itong mga ito, ang Inquirer at yung mga kakosa nito, they are agents of a foreign government and foreign interests. That's why we now go to the issue of treason. Kasi sinasabi na si Marcos, masama yan and so on, and patriotic daw si Ninoi for exposing the Jabidah. Ang mga Jesuita sa Ateneo, yan ang version din ng tinuturo. So, what is patriotic? What is treasonous? Yeah. Was Ninoy's speech treasonous?
It's treasonous.
Bonus bringing to the Supreme Court
No, to the ombudsman.
Ombudsman. Issue ng treason.
About treason.
Treason, yes.
Was editorialized by the Inquirer. And I told him about it, and he answered.
Ano sabi?
And until now, the Inquirer, they did not publish my reply, but I'm not surprised, no? Because before, several times, the Inquirer had the pleasure of attacking me, and they never published my reply, not even the obituary page, no? So, as you said, Mintong, they should do historical correction. But to expect the Inquirer to do historical correction is improbable, even impossible, because if they don't even correct the facts of the current moment, how much more history?
Okay, let's go back. Doon sa act ni Marcos and the acts of Ninoi on the Jabidah controversy, what is patriotic? I will not say who. Which act is patriotic? Which act is treasonous?
The act of Marcos is patriotic, of course. The act of Ninoi is treasonous. It's very clear.
And
The
in
way
fact, I
treason is defined.
think Marcos appealed to Ninoi to keep it down because it is national interest.
Yes.
Ferdy?
In fact, Ninoi at that time, being with the opposition, was the representative of the minority in the National Security Council. Now, in the National Security Council, when you find out something that is a national secret, a state secret, you are not supposed to tell it to the whole world because you are bound, duty-bound to keep it a secret. But Ninoi Aquino, after learning about the Operation Merdeka, delivered a privileged speech ostensibly revealing or exposing a so-called massacre that did not happen, just to have a justification to reveal to the whole world the secret plan of the Philippine government to retake what is rightfully ours.
That's right.
So he violated his oath of office as a member of the National Security Council and as a senator of the Republic.
Kaya itong storya napakahalaga. Itong basis sa mitolohiya or fabula in Filipino, no? The fable, no? about the patriotism of these people na mali naman. But I now also want to focus on this press statement of legislators on the 47th anniversary of the Jabidah massacre, which is non-massacre. It shows the historical ignorance of these people or ill will to the nation. And it is blah, blah, blah about the massacre, no? Now we have shown is a big lie. And sino unang nagpirma po rito? Representative Heredina Abad. Siyempre, anak nito nasa IMF, and si Butch Abad, ang DAP master, and so on. Representative Francis Gerald Abaya, kapatid siguro ito ni DOTC, Aguinaldo Abaya. Alam naman natin ang history ng Aguinaldo, and the controversy about his acts
Bonifacio.
Kay Bonifacio, and so on and so forth. No? Tapos nag-iiyak pa daw si Governor.
Yeah,
Ataman?
they were
Ataman.
crying while the marker was being unveiled. They were all crying for a unique case. This is the only case in the world wherein in a massacre, no one died.
Umiyak ba si Hataman doon sa SAF 44? Umiyak ba si Hataman doon sa 19 Marines
Hindi.
na napugutan ng ulo sa Basilan?
Philippine Scout Rangers, 19 in Albarca, Basilan. And 14,
Albarca.
that was in 2011. And then 14 Marines in Albarca also in 2007.
Umiyak ba sila Dina Abad? Umiyak ba itong 47, 35 kongresista na mga nagpirma nito?
So they would not cry over a genuine massacre, but they have the tears for a massacre that did not happen.
No, I did not see the television footage about their crying. But what I noticed is in all the publications in the papers, all of them are smiling in celebration of the massacre.
There was a massacre. We were massacred with lies.
And truth was massacred too.
Truth was
And
massacred.
the rightful ownership of the Philippines over Sabah was massacred.
Okay,
Yeah.
before we take our break, Bono, update on the treason case.
Ang
Your
treason
reply,
kasi, yeah.
your reply,
The-
which is very
my
interesting.
reply in the Inquirer,
To the Inquirer.
to the Inquirer,
Because it never came out in the Inquirer.
it never came out in the Inquirer. I tore their editorial to pieces. To begin with, I said, the theory behind the peace process is to stop the carnage in Mindanao. Question, is negotiating with the MILF an act to stop the carnage in Mindanao? Of course not. MNLF disagrees with the peace process agreement. BIFF disagrees. Jim disagrees. Abu Sayyaf disagrees. CPP-NP disagrees. And are they saying that the MILF represent all these groups which disagree with their agreement with the Philippine government?
Okay.
Of course not.
Pero-
The civilians like me disagree.
Pero hindi ba obligation ng Inquirer to publish your
Yeah, that's
reply?
their obligation because sinasabi nga, fourth estate.
Their journalistic ethics
Yes.
dictate that both sides should be given equal space.
That's true.
Otherwise, you are practicing yellow journalism.
Sabi nila balanced news, fearless views. Mukhang pagdating sa iyo, they're not fearless anymore.
They are afraid of you.
No, since the very beginning, when I parted ways with Cory, all my statements with respect to the takeover of the government and the later developments never got published. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what
We'll
later.
let that flow into the third part, then we talk about the battle for Makati. Okay, let's take this break.